Nation!
Fire up Nation!
Hello.
Hello, hello. Whew.
Where are we at?
We're live. We're live from Istro, Crete. Guys, look at this view back here. I mean, Graclyn's gonna take you on a little tour.
It's hard.
This has been our perch for the last few days. It's pretty amazing. It's probably the best word to describe it, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well let's jump. Sorry guys, gotta get this stable. Jump right to it. Start
All right.
off with an easy question.
Okay, talk to me.
How awesome is this perch?
That's easy. I mean, this is one of the coolest views I've ever had anywhere I've ever stayed across the world. I mean, this is just flat out incredible. Full panos, you got mountains, oceans. You can't see it right this second, but I mean, these waters light up and they're just, turquoise teals, just gorgeous. So, I mean, this is a heavenly, wonderful place.
I agree. All right, so earlier today we went into town, Agios Nicholas.
Where's town? There it is.
There's town.
It's right across the way there. We didn't swim.
Picked up this shirt.
That's right. Yeah, these are my new dicks.
We've gotten like five new shirts here.
I'm loving the
He
Greek
is-
shirts. Check out these collars. It's
Anyway,
different.
so when we went into town, we had a great conversation with one of the shop owners there. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were. It was really interesting hearing people's different perspectives on what's going on in the world. So
Yeah, we started talking to this woman who owned a shop, and we got into the conversation about what's going on, because she was wearing her mask at first, and then we stepped outside and she's like, I don't want to wear this, and we were like, that's fine. And we just kind of generally asked her, what's your general sense, and she started talking about how she had COVID previously, and as we've communicated before, we had our own bouts with that, and now she was saying, I have natural immunity, so there's nothing to worry about. We said we're not concerned because we trust that our immune systems too are strong and will protect us. And then we got into more conversation, and she spoke to just the sheer what's going on and how prices are starting to rise. And I mean, so she's just speaking to the inflation going up, and it's going on globally. And so that was just really interesting to kind of hear her perspective. And then it went further to say, a lot of distrust in the government and what's all going on, and trying to make sense of it. And I guess my feeling about that was we've encountered this many times as we've been traveling around, just a lot of suspect people, and wondering what's going to happen. I mean, when you've got your livelihood in question, I mean, people that are dependent on tourism, and then also your food prices starting to go up, and energy prices, and over here in Europe, natural gas is getting really high in price, and just it kind of speaks to what's going to happen globally. So it was just yet another interesting conversation with somebody who is commenting on the weirdness of our times.
yeah, it was interesting. I really enjoyed talking with her. So if you had to put your future goggles on, or cap on, however you want to call it, what would you predict? Granted, times change quickly these days, but what would you guess would be unfolding the next 3 months, year, whatever time frame you have a good estimation on?
Ooh, that's a big one. So my futurist cap, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
put it on.
Well, I mean, to speak kind of in broad terms, I feel like we're really dealing with an unprecedented situation on this earth. I mean, we're kind of in this period where, there's a real kind of bout between, you could call it like love and fear. I don't want to call it good and evil, because I don't think that's what it is. I really think it's kind of like separation, and then, returning to, the love that you are, consciousness, your soul being, and that essence. And, so I think what we're going into over the next, I'll call it, year or years, is just a big battle with that, where there's going to be people who are going to outsource, their divine power within them, and, their future is going to be I think, decided for them if they're not willing to take ownership and responsibility over it. And then there's going to be people who are awakening, their spirit and choosing their future and, returning to the love that they are. And, then they're going to secure and get some certainty for their future. I mean, in a more practical sense, I just think there's going to be a lot more, big things coming down the pike. I do think inflation's real. It's going to be a real big problem. You saw trillions and trillions of dollars globally, flooding the world economy. I think that ends very badly, and I think we have a real big, collapse economically. And I'm just going to, try the best that I can, the best that I know what to do, is to just turn within, to really, try to heal what's inside me, get closer to my source and the love that I am. And I think that if we all do that individually, more and more, one by one, our power grows exponentially. And the words that come to mind are, you can always choose the light. And so I think no matter how dark the days get, and right now it's looking like it's going to get pretty dark, I think that we as people can unify, and we can confront that head on and choose the light and shine brightly, and we'll grow and raise our consciousness together. So I mean, that might have been a kind of a little bit of a roundabout way of answering that, but I do think we're in for some pretty crazy times ahead.
That was a good answer. Lots to dissect there, but I love that. That's awesome. So we've had, that was a deep question. We've had some pretty deep conversations lately, sitting on our beautiful perch, getting to, look out into the ocean. And you've shared some newer thoughts on, just what you view as afterlife, or what happens after, people pass on in this world. Is there anything you want to share with the audience on kind of your newfound understanding?
Yeah, so I mean, I have come to believe that there is no real such thing as death. I mean, certainly this body that you have, that's gone, but you as a spiritual being, or your soul, I mean, that's energy that can't be destroyed. I mean, that lives on. And so I do believe now that when you die, you're reborn into the next reality. And with that comes a lot of peace, and knowing that there's really nothing to fear, because you're not ever really going to disappear from the universe. And the universe always has eyes on you, is watching out for you. So I just think my views on it have really come full circle, whereas maybe I used to fear, dying. I mean, many people fear that. And it's kind of one of those things that you think that, the world is scarce and your time here is finite. But now I really believe in abundance, and that your time is unlimited. I mean, there really is no such thing as time. And so your soul, your just kind of creative source power, that lives on. And when you die here on this earth, you're reborn into another reality. I mean, you may come back here. I think we all have lessons to learn here, and it's just a matter of if we, learn and grow as to where we go. And I don't know anything about where is next, other than I know there is something. So
awesome. All right, let's see, what do I want to ask next? We've made some fairly big changes in our life over the last year or two, call it. If there's somebody that wants to make a shift or some sort of change in their life, granted, we are not experts, we are still learning as well, but what would be, your advice on that, on how to make a change if there's something, inside of you that you're itching to do or excited about, but holding back for some reason?
Sure. Graclyn hit me with the heavy stuff today. This is good. All right.
I've been marinating.
Man, free for all.
Looking out into this, just thinking.
I love it. This is great. Right. So making a shift. Well, let me go back to I'll speak from my experience. I felt, a couple of years ago when I was in my, job as a consultant and, kind of working away, And I'd felt for some time that just wasn't really what I wanted to do with my life. I felt like I just wasn't really living up to who I was inside myself, and I didn't have any passion or drive or motivation, to get out there and want to just conquer that and like be the best at that. And it showed. And I felt like over time I got more and more inauthentic. I got more and more separated from just who I am in my heart. And so, then what needed to happen was, and what did happen was, we finally quit our jobs to go travel the world. And now looking back on that, what that ultimately amounted to was, I said no to what wasn't working for me, and I said yes to something that was coming from my heart that I wanted to pursue for me. So I said both, say yes to myself and say yes to adventure, because that's what we wanted to do, was get out and travel. And so that cleared a space, saying no to what wasn't working for me and what I felt was diminishing me, cleared a space for me to say yes to something that I wanted to pursue, that would give me that passion and really satisfy, that fire inside me, to really build that back up. So I think that's kind of step one for anybody looking to make a shift in their life. If you're saying yes to something where you really feel like you should be saying no, then that should tell you. Just ask yourself internally those questions and try to identify those areas, because, if you can't clear space, then it's really hard for you to be able to say yes to what you really want to pursue. And then once you do clear some space, you can start saying yes. That's what got us to where we are today, saying yes to adventure, to ourselves, and to abundance. But really, it was just saying yes. We're calling it our yes philosophy.
That's
and
right.
Yeah, that is. And once you start saying yes, the doors start opening up for you, and the universe answers the call, and it starts to present you with opportunities. And the more that you get momentum and the more you say yes, and the more opportunities that start opening up, and you just walk through those doors. So another thing that I would say in addition to those two is just getting with people who are where you're going. And I think that, we've certainly found some real benefit from getting with a group of people who, really, they're really heart-centered, and they're leaders, and they're being the change that they want to see. And that's ultimately what we aim to do. So getting with a group of people that are going to support you and that are, where you want to go is hugely important. So that's altering your environment and to get that support system around you. So if you're looking to make a shift, those are things. Clear some space, start saying yes, and then get with people who will support you to go where your heart wants to go.
Awesome. That was great. Well, since we have a time commitment, maybe we can switch gears.
Oh, okay.
You can ask.
Flipping the script.
Let's see. Yeah.
Well, we still got 12 minutes, so let me hit you with some stuff here. So we have been, where have we been the last few days? We got a car here in Crete, and we've been trekking it around. So what's been your favorite part about Crete so far?
I really love Crete. I love all of it. I'm trying to even think. Where we're here now, which is amazing and beautiful, and I definitely would come. I would probably start here if I came back. We're on towards the east side, which is absolutely beautiful. For this, we were in a hippie town. Is what everybody calls it, and it had caves.
Matala.
Matala. People lived in apparently in the 60s. Really cool. I don't know. I just had a cool vibe. There was a lot of artwork on the streets and just like cool eclectic shops. I don't want to generalize or put anybody in a box, but it kind of maybe was like the Austin of Crete. If I could draw a comparison, it had a little funny thing going, but in a good way. I loved it. And then was Samaria Gorge. Is that on Crete?
Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, that was here, which is a cool 13 miles, I think, hike through a gorge, which was really beautiful, and we've seen some awesome beaches. So really no complaints here on Crete. Absolutely wonderful. And getting in a car and just driving, it's fun to me. So
yeah, guys, look, for I think we're paying around $60 a night, and you could have this. So you can bounce on over to Crete right now. This is
come meet us, but we're leaving soon.
Out of this world. Yeah, come meet us. Come get some of that big adventure living. We would love to see you guys. Get out here on the road with us. Start moving around. It's great. So, let me get down to some brass tacks and ask you some deep questions since you hit me with so many good ones. What do you see as the, I guess, most imminent issue right now in the world today? And how would you characterize it? And what would you say, you're doing about it? And that's carte blanche. Just decide what you want to speak to there.
Imminent issue. There are a lot of great things happening and a lot of not so great. So I'm going to choose to, what is the most imminent? So the freedom of people to, authentically be themselves, make decisions for themselves, keeping in mind best interest of everybody, but just the ability to make your own decisions and not have some higher power, government or what else, make those for you. I think that we're in interesting times, and maybe there's a certain forgetfulness of what we did to get to here, and now all of a sudden there's maybe a willingness to let that go in favor of like the short term. And so I would say I guess sovereignty comes to mind, people standing for what they think and feel, and if there's no harm to others, then that should not be someone else's decision. I am my own person, and even between people that are together, families or friends, everybody has their own opinions, and those are valid in their own right. But I think there's a certain divisiveness too on putting your opinions on other people, and forgetting, like think about this like conversation about the 6 or the 9. To me, I could be looking down at a number, it could be absolutely a 6, but if you're on the other side and it's absolutely a 9, but we're spitting at each other, trying to like argue till we're blue in the face, and it just, at the end of the day, do you want to, does it matter if you're right, or are you just going to stand in what you feel, and operate and make decisions based off of that? So I think that's kind of the biggest feeling of, what I see as being an issue, so to speak, right now in the world. Treading lightly, but that's how I feel.
That's great. So what are you doing in response to that? How are you living your life, and how are you leading by example of how you think, going about living in this world today, goes for you?
Yeah, I think something we've particularly learned over, the past 6 months especially, is just like, operating, you're a sovereign being, and operating within that space and standing for, what you believe in. And even if I so strongly feel the way that I feel, and I want to show you and share with you and, help you see where I'm coming from, I'm absolutely able to do that. But as soon as I start trying to impart, my feeling and beliefs onto you, then I'm no better than, anybody that I don't want to say that I'm against, but just, it doesn't get anybody anywhere. I think you just stand for what you believe, and that's what I'm trying to do, and operate under what I think is right. I see that as, we had a passion to travel, and now as we've done that, we've dug deep and kind of, found ourselves, gone inward, so to speak, and we want to just share that, like, coming alive from the inside. And so the best way to share that with others is just to be and do that. And so we're learning every day. We're still constantly going to keep growing, but I think just being that change you want to see is something that comes to mind, and that's really all you can do. So
nice. That's great. So when you say coming alive from the inside, how would you describe what that means to you? How did it work for you, and what kind of transition is that?
Yeah,
maybe I should use the word transformation.
Yeah, that's good. Well, coming alive from the inside, it's going from, how we describe it as like outside in versus inside out. So if you're living based off of the outside, then that means, your happiness, joy, whatever is circumstantial based off of what's going on around you. And obviously there's good and bad days, things that happen that may be a little easier to be positive one day to the next. But I think as long as it's living from, the inside and your passions and beliefs, and just choosing love and seeing everything from that lens, and just finding the goodness in everything, even though if right in that moment it doesn't feel great or it's not what you want to be happening, then ultimately just believing that everything ultimately is for good. I think that makes it easier to just live your life.
That's great. So if you're telling people out there, not telling, just if you're talking with people and they said, well, what do we need? Like, what's the one thing that the world needs to really make some headway in a more positive direction, more headway towards peace, love, and joy? What would you offer to them and tell them, hey, this is what I see and what I think the world could use some more of right now?
So the question is, what could the world use more of, or how do you?
It's just, the question is, what could, when people are out there saying like, look, I have these feelings inside me, like I want to live from the inside too, and I just, I know that there's something out there that I could be doing. Like, what's one thing that the world could use more of, or that somebody could do to kind of move closer to what you've described, that kind of fire inside and living from that space?
I mean, I just think it all boils down to like living your authentic life and self, and coming from love. And I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but it's kind of you look at it through a lens of what is the joy I can see, what is the goodness I can see, if like what would love do here, and also recognizing the best thing that you can do for the world, and the best thing that you can do for those that you love is to just be yourself, because who anybody is, they have gifts to bring, and this more you try to fit in to whatever box you think you have to be, or someone's trying to put you in, like you're diminishing whatever awesome gifts, power that you have. And so I think just removing the shoulds, the coulds, the woulds, and just making decisions from that place, then that's just the first step, is just kind of break down that box. But the image I think of is if you're in a cage with the handles on the inside, like that's how I feel like I at some point was living my life, is feeling a little trapped, even though like I created this things around me and they were great and good in some ways, but they weren't authentic to me. And so all I had to do was start making that change. And so it's like, oh, okay, open the door, spread out this cage or box that I'm stuck in, and start just experiencing things in a new way. And it just it's one change at a time, one step in the right direction, and things start to unfold. You may not see the full set of directions, but make the right turn here, okay, now what, make another turn. So I think it is kind of breaking it down.
That's awesome, and thank you. That was an excellent response to, frankly, a pretty poorly worded question. So nice job, Graclyn.
I tried.
So remove the remove the coulds, woulds, shoulds, and get out there and take action for yourself.
Yeah.
And you also said something about you have an awareness now that you created the circumstances and the reality that you were living in. So that speaks to the fact that you are a powerful creator.
That's
and
right.
We all create our own reality. Everything is energy. Our thoughts have energy, our emotions have energy, and we plant these seeds, and eventually things arrange in the universe and it shows up in your physical reality. And so you're a divine creator. What does that mean to you, and what are you going to do with that now that you know that you have this unlimited power as a divine creator? What's next for Graclyn Glazier, knowing that, with that knowing?
Good question. I think to me, it boils down to like a creator. So that means that, I can choose to, let the universe unfold for me, but by, putting intentions out there, acting in a way, whatever, vision I have for my life, acting, like I was saying, kind of breaking it down, not get overwhelmed with how am I going to make it happen, but it's just making the decisions on the little things, taking actions, taking a step forward, and creating the world that I want. And I do want to clarify, you know, the world that I was living in wasn't bad. Again, it was, you know, I really have always had a great life. It's just when I think about what was around me and just that feeling of being authentic to myself, I was, you know, lying to myself. I was, you know, lying to myself as far as these are the things that the world's telling me I should have or need to have to be happy, and I have those. So why, you know, okay, let's be real. Why am I not feeling like I'm my best self and the happiest that I could be? And I think starting to take those steps towards just being authentic. Granted, I don't know what that looks like entirely, but it's just one step at a time, and that's really, you know, how I feel like I got to this point where I feel like Graclyn, you know? Feels good.
Oh, amazing. Well, guys, that's all the time we have on this Fun Friday free-for-all. Man, that was a good one. That was deep and exciting, and
if only we had
a lot of fun.
A little more sunlight.
I mean, I know. Gosh, we really kind of messed that up. We were thinking this was going to be perfect. You know, you get the turquoise.
But we'll leave you with one last. Sorry, guys. Hope I don't drop Reed's phone. It's just so beautiful. Wish y'all were here.
Fire Up Nation!
All right, we love y'all.
We love y'all. Go tell us what you think in the Facebook community, Fire Up Nation. Join that.
Leave us some questions for next week.
Yeah, get us some questions. We'd love to answer them.
We'll be back in Dallas.
That's right. We're gonna be back around the Texas area. So get at us. We'd love to talk to you. Love you guys.
Bye.